All right, here we go. It has been a 10. And hey, we actually have rain to track this morning. Most of that rain is now moving into Kentucky, kind of along and south of Interstate 64. Many areas picking up around a half of an inch of rainfall in Indiana, and then up to around 1 to 2 inches of rain west of I-65. So we'll wait just a moment to get some folks on board. Been at 10 this morning, but you might, if you're already on board, you might be watching that replay. So we're going to also focus, number one, in my opinion, is a threat of some severe storms for tomorrow, especially late in the day and into the evening time. We haven't said that in a long time. So we will be looking at the ingredients and the timeline hour by hour for that potential of some strong to severe storms for late Friday as a secondary front moves in. So we have these little fall fronts that are kind of reloading and coming through. So we're getting a little bit more wind energy with the warm up that we have tomorrow to give us that threat that we'll be looking at very closely. Now, we'll have some rain lingering into Saturday morning, and beyond that, we are going to be clear sailing for a long time. So we've got a lot to cover here on our show this morning. Thanks for watching, whether it's on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Peine, as we see right there, or Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube. Thanks for liking or subscribing there, or extolmag.com/weather. We've got Big Happy in the house here. As I don't know about you, but I don't know if it's the kind of the weather changes, the drier air that we've had, a ragweed. The sinuses are not perfect right now. Feeling a tad bit drained, perhaps. And speaking of drain, there's some water draining into some of the sewers out there after we picked up a decent soaking here overnight and early this morning. Did you wake up to the thunder? I think it was around, I don't know, 3 a.m. or something like that. I did hear some of the thunder roaring through the skies, and there you can see that cloudy sky still as we look live here at the corner of Vincennes and Market in uptown New Albany, Indiana. And as I bring up the radar and satellite, take a look there. We still have some showers around. So right around Tell City, you've got some rain, Shepherdsville, Lebanon. But you can see the heavier rain is now making its way off to the east, and southern Indiana is beginning to dry out. And then a clearing trend a little farther to the northwest where you can see that clear sky breaking out. So we'll likely have the return of some sunshine a little bit later on today. Showers lingering a bit longer for areas south and southeast of Louisville. So we have this rain to talk about for today. And then we have more rain late tomorrow into Saturday morning with the potential of some strong to severe storms as well. So again, plenty to chat about with our weather discussion this morning here for Southern Indiana and beyond. Thanks for joining us this morning. Beverly Hagist is in the house here. We've got Orlean Whitlow, an inch of rain there in Hodgenville. That matches up with the radar total estimates that I saw. We'll look at some of the radar totals here in just a second. Tim Furnish with a decent amount of rain there in Madison, overcast and cool. Speaking of cool, we're looking at low mid-70s today. And then Saturday, upper 60s, low 70s for the afternoon highs. So these cool autumn shots of air continue to come down our direction from Canada. Perry Porter getting woken up by the thunder. And at least we got some rain. Yeah, it got really, really dusty across the area. So it's nice to see some of the rain that we have across the area. So here are the weather headlines here for today as they load up for your September 4th. Afternoon clearing on the way after this morning rain. Some storms are back in that forecast late Friday, kind of around 6 p.m. or later is kind of the timeline. Again, we're going to look at that in detail here in just a second. And then Saturday morning, we'll have some showers lingering before drying out and cooling down Saturday afternoon. And then we have 70s on the way for this weekend into early next week. Play ball forecast, yeah, there's some morning showers, but this is looking into the afternoon. So 70 at noon, 74 for the afternoon high. And it will be dry this afternoon with the west wind at around 5 to 10. My son's got a tennis match in New Albany, so we need those courts to dry out. Now, he's got a tennis match tomorrow as well, Friday evening, but that might be a washout with the potential of that rain on the way. So, again, as I mentioned, a lot to talk about here this morning. Let me go ahead and bring back up. Sorry, I'm trying to direct some traffic here with our sources. There you can see the showers that we have out there now. And we've got Dennis Gregory. Good morning from Bedford. Got a tad damp for the 7 a.m. walk, but didn't melt. Yeah, feeling pretty good out there, I bet. I drove the old truck into work this morning, which has no AC, and it actually felt pretty good this morning. Didn't really need the AC. So there you can see what we're watching here this morning. We've got this front moving through, and then we are going to see a jump in the temperatures tomorrow. So we're like 70s today, then we're well into the 80s tomorrow. That warm-up is right ahead of a front that will give us the ingredients for the potential of some severe storms that we'll need to watch out for again tomorrow. All right, moving right along here, we are going to bring up the interactive radar as well. Here's another live look outside first, though, with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. So looking at the Falls of the Ohio, it looked like there was maybe a field trip out there, a group of students out there looking at, you can see the water there, the puddles on the fossil beds too, some low clouds left over, a little bit of light fog with the low clouds too. So gloomy start, which we have not had much of here lately. It's been almost 2 weeks since we've had measurable rain over much of the area. Reminder here, you can get all of your weather resources at extolmag.com, extolmag.com/weather. We've got our live stream up right now, the 7-day forecast that I posted. You've got your day 1, day 2 risk of severe storms. Let's pop on day 2 here. And so right now, our area is under a level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk from the Storm Prediction Center. The Storm Prediction Center is a division of the National Weather Service out of Norman, Oklahoma. Their one big job is to look across the United States and see where severe weather might happen. So as far as the tornado risk for tomorrow, this would be late Friday, it's a 2% risk of a tornado. So it's a low threat. And it looks like Kentucky has a higher threat than Indiana right now. Looks like the ingredients for severe weather might be a bit better in Kentucky. So we're going to dig a lot deeper into that here in just a second. So if you're just joining us, if you're a first-time viewer of Ben at 10, so what we typically do is look at your forecast right off the bat, and then we're going to take some time to dig deeper into the forecast, kind of your long-term forecast for the 7-day, and then we're going to dive deep into the weather models and get a bit nerdy here. So that's when we're going to be looking at the storm threat, and then we'll look down the road as well for Ben on a Limb, which might feature down the road the return of summer-like weather later in September. So stay tuned for this little segment. Not to scare anybody, but we do need to talk about that threat of severe weather for tomorrow here in just a second. Cheers to you guys. All right, so you got those resources there at extolmag.com/weather. Hopefully this will help out the drought. So the drought monitor is updated today, but won't reflect the rain that we have had today or tomorrow. So much of Kentucky is in a moderate drought, D1 drought. And so this, again, these resources are right here at extolmag.com/weather. And then much of Indiana is called abnormally dry, so the lowest level of drought. But there are portions of north central Indiana under the D1 and parts of southwestern Indiana under the D1 drought. Obviously, it's been too dry, and I think we all know that around our area. So, again, some of the resources there. Here's your big interactive radar that is also loading up here for a second. And you got your regional radar. And if we have any watchers or warnings, you've got those right there, too. Let me refresh the page. And we'll wait on that for a second. But a few announcements here as we wait for the radar to load up. Want to give a shout out to our partners here, Lions Roofing. Hopefully we don't get any storms that do any damage tomorrow. But if that ever happens and you notice any damage to your roof, you can give them a shout. They're still fixing up, believe it or not, roofs that were damaged back in March from hailstorms. So you can give them a call, 812-294-3595. They do commercial, residential, new home builds, custom home builds, and they can also help you out with some financial help here. They've got a careers section with an application for a roofing repair technician job right there. Of course, you may have to work hand in hand with your insurance company, American Family Insurance here. I want to recommend you to Michael Long. And we went golfing yesterday up at Western Hills in Salem. And we were tied. We were playing really good. We were about even par until I had a couple blow-up holes and he beat me. So congrats to Michael Long. Appreciated him inviting me out there. But I'll get another chance. They've got a fun Wednesday. I want to kind of keep this secret though. But they've got a big turnout every Wednesday. They've got a Wednesday evening scramble. So it was a lot of fun out there in Salem. So again, tell them I sent you if you want to get a quote. They've actually had a price decrease. You haven't heard that in a long time with American Family Insurance. And I got that decrease on my latest renewal. How about that? So you can give him a call, get a quote, 812-578-3072. Proud to be an American Star certified agency, excellence in customer service. And Libs Paving. Just gave them the forecast this morning. Top asphalt paving contractor around. Of course, any rain can slow down their jobs. But thankfully, we got a lot of dry time coming up in that 7-day forecast after Saturday morning. With that said, they will have the opportunity to do a lot more work out there. So if you want an opportunity, a career, maybe a job change, you want that paycheck, go to libspaving.com, L-I-B-B as in Ben S, paving.com. You see all the available opportunities right there. You can get your opportunity as well by heading to ivtech.edu, and you go to the locations. Sellersburg, we're 9 miles north of Louisville, exit 9 here in Sellersburg, right off of I-65. And you can take a tour of the campus, sign up for Tuesdays at the Tech. But you can also find just a ton with all the resources here at ivtech.edu. And tons of partnerships around the area, fueling the workforce in Southern Indiana. And also, thankfully, giving my daughter like 40 credits or something like that for free. She's starting off as a second semester sophomore at IU. All right, so we are looking at some rain this morning. Who's happy that they got some rain finally across the area? My yard is going to be happy. Here is the interactive radar that we've popped up. And the current temperatures, notice some 50s in Indiana. So there's the cool down behind the front. So you got 50s over much of Indiana and Illinois. And then ahead of the front, it's a little bit warmer with 60s with the rain over much of the Commonwealth. Most of this rain right now is tracking along and south, I should say, of I-65. We're going to bring up the rainfall totals. And again, then we're going to focus a lot more on the severe weather threat for tomorrow here in just a second. We have not had the chance to say anything about severe weather anytime soon, because we just had like kind of typical pop-up variety showers and thunderstorms. And Lily and Lasley got some more rain. There was a bunch west of I-65. I was seeing some storm totals of around 1 to 3 inches in Kentucky west of I-65. Much of Indiana around a half inch or so. Barbara Haas, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. And we've got to finally get some rain for Sarah Humphreys with the happy dance this morning. It's so weird because we surely did not want the rain for the first half of the year. And then here we go. Now we're happy about it. That's weather in the Ohio Valley for you. All right. So just another reminder, too. If you have any weather questions, if you just want to connect, you can email me, Ben at extolmag.com, or Jason at extolmag.com. If you want to learn about some advertising and marketing solutions, you want to see your logo on our products. It's not just Extol Weather, it's Extol Media, a lot of different platforms to give you a megaphone here in Southern Indiana and beyond. So here is the weather headlines. And then again, we'll get back to the radar, take live looks outside with the rain that we have now. And then we're going to go hour by hour with the weather model data. So an afternoon clearing today and cooler in the 70s. And then we're going to have a storm chance late tomorrow and with another front moving in. And that'll give us some rain Friday night into Saturday morning. Might see a good inch of rain out of that as well. And then we're looking at 70s, maybe upper 60s, low 70s for highs Saturday, 70s on Sunday and sunshine. And then we're clear sailing after that through next week, looking pretty dry. Beverly Haggis checking the rain gauge there in Borden had a half inch of rainfall. So that matches up perfectly with the radar estimates that I saw here recently. And Lillian's still getting some of that rain at her house. So the play ball forecast, drying out this afternoon, 74 in general for that high temperature. If you see a little more sunshine, you might be a degree or two warmer than that. Otherwise, west winded around 5 to 10. Here are the stupid weather jokes for today. What did the investigators say? It says say to the cloud, I have some serious questions. Get it? Serious? I actually made that one up. Who does everyone listen to, but no one believes? You guessed it, the meteorologist. Throwing myself under the bus with that joke right there. What's the opposite of a cold front? A warm back. Ba-dum-tsh. All right, moving on. In today's weather history, there's a bunch here. I've been posting this every day as well on Facebook if you want to look at it longer. 1895, these records go back a long ways. Indianapolis had their second biggest 24-hour measured rainfall with about 7 inches. I don't think any of us remember that. 1895. 1970, Tropical Storm Norma. 1986, a strong dust devil hit the National Weather Service office in Flagstaff, Arizona. Kind of a weird record keeping there. 2004, former Cat 4 Hurricane Francis makes landfall in Florida as a Cat 2. 2011, the center of Tropical Storm Lee moves ashore. So you see, day after day, there's a lot of tropical weather history because September is the peak of the hurricane season. How many days until? So we're 5 days until the before 8 p.m. sunsets. We got the fall background because it's kind of fallish stuff here. Autumn begins in 18 days, average highs in the 70s in 20 days, average highs in the 60s in 45 days. And hey, the beginning of NFL football is today. Another sign of fall. And Sarah is saying, I never complain about the spring rains because we always end up begging for it in August. You're right. August, September, October typically are drought months. So the forecast here, the summary for your September the 34th. I'm telling you, my sinuses are messing up my brain this morning. September the 4th, not the 34th. We'd be in trouble if there was a September 34th. Afternoon clearing today, cooler temperatures, west wind around 5 to 10. And for tonight, mostly clear and low 60 degrees, so free AC as we cool down a little bit. I was just looking at the radar again here in a sec. All right, and then the forecast for tomorrow, 60 and some sunshine, 77 at noon. We'll see increasing clouds in the afternoon ahead of that next front, and late day evening storm chances. So the storm chances are going up, I would say 6 p.m.-ish or later. We may have to fine-tune that tomorrow morning on our morning show. And hello, Vicky. So, I was playing golf about a mile away from you yesterday. Needing the rain. We're getting the rain. It is good stuff here. So 85. So a quick warm-up from our lower 70s today to the mid-80s tomorrow. And that's going to be one of the ingredients, and warmth and also some wind shear, which we haven't had this summer, which will give us a chance for some strong thunderstorms. We're about at that time, usually about 10:20. We're loading up that weather model data, which we're just about on time right here. So we'll have that rain Friday night into Saturday morning. We dry out Saturday afternoon. I'm only going 71 the high Saturday. And so I'll be at the IU football game there. Might need the light jacket or maybe the sweatshirt. 52 Saturday nights. What UVL, I think, plays tomorrow night. 74. So there might be some rain with that. 74 for Sunday and down to 49 Sunday night. 75 Monday. So we've got fall-like conditions this weekend into early next week. Humidity should be pretty low for much of next week. And then we're back into some mid-80s by the middle of next week. And then beyond this 7-day forecast, when we go on the bin on a limb segment, we might be talking about the return of some decent heat, some summer-like heat as we head towards mid-late September. With the live report, Lily and Lasley, 66 there in Grayson County. All right, so now that's the forecast. Now we're going to be heading into the weather models. I've been looking forward to this because we actually have things to show you here with the weather model data. And let's bring it right up here. Let me remove that and bring this and pop that up. So there's the rain that we have across the area right now. And there you can see still a wet around Elizabethtown and down the Bluegrass Parkway. And everyone, I'll try not to sneeze, but I might have to blow my nose every once in a while here with whatever it is that's happening in these sinuses of mine. All right, so there's the rain that we have now. Much of southern Indiana is drying out. You can see the clearing sky just up to the north. So that means this is the sunshine breaking back up into our northern sky. So if you're around Bedford, Indiana, Dennis, if you look to the northwest, you might be seeing that clearing already. So from northwest to southeast, we're going to be drying out and clearing out through this afternoon for today. All right, so that's that. Now I'm going to try to here bring up the rainfall totals because it was a pretty good soaker here for much of the area last night. And again, did you wake up to the sound of thunder? Lightning and the thunder. There's the live radar. I'm just looking over some of my weather graphics here. Future radar, current temps, rainfall total. There it is. No, that's not what I want. There it is. Total precip. Here we go. Here we go. So this is kind of colorful. I need to hit stop on this thing. Stop. All right, let's bring it up full screen here. Look at the pretty colors. I need to take off my little drawing. So if we peruse around the region, so West Clark County, where I live, about a quarter to a half inch, some pockets of a little more than a half of an inch. So this is the storm total rainfall across the area. Again, much of Indiana, about a half inch to 3/4 of an inch, about the same in Louisville. You get south, you're getting into some of those heavier amounts that we've talked about. Notice here in Meade County, over an inch of rainfall. And then over here in Breckenridge County, Kentucky, down in Grayson County, looking at 1 to 3 inches of rainfall with the radar estimates. And then east of I-65, Bardstown, around an inch or so. Down in Hodgenville, about an inch there for Orlean, Springfield. So there you can see anywhere from about a half inch to over an inch of rainfall, heaviest west of I-65. All right, let's back out of the full screen. Now, talked about it so long. It's time to get into the future radar, weather models. Here we go. And we're going to start off with we typically do the HER, but let's go ahead and do the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. And we're looking at here at noon. There you can see the rain that's left over is mostly east of I-65 here at noon today. So just in about an hour and a half. As we go into the afternoon, everywhere is beginning to dry out and clear out as well. So looking nice and comfortable for this afternoon for whatever your plans might be. Maybe you're taking the TV outside, watching some football this evening. We've been watching a lot of the U.S. Open tennis lately. All right, so this is today. Now, we are more interested in tomorrow, right? So let's go into tomorrow afternoon. The second front is going to be moving into the region. There you can see it developing out to the west. I'm going to go to about 3 o'clock. It looks like we'll be dry through most of our afternoon tomorrow. Maybe a stray shower west of 65. But I'm going to jump this ahead to 6 p.m. Let's see what's firing up late afternoon into the evening time. So this is what we're going to watch out for. So right now, the trend has been, if you look kind of closely to this, for more energy to be over Kentucky. So it looks like Kentucky has a little better threat of some strong to severe storms. You can see those looking pretty big and bad there in western Kentucky first. We could have a couple strong thunderstorms in southern Indiana, but I think it's going to be a lower threat. Either way, late tomorrow, be prepared. This is at 6 p.m. Friday for the potential of those downpours and a few of these strong to severe storms. While it's not a outbreak of severe weather, this is probably the highest threat of severe weather that we've seen in quite some time because we just haven't had the wind shear ingredient that we have some for tomorrow throughout all of summertime. So that is at 7 p.m. tomorrow. That's the time frame for a lot of us to see the showers and thunderstorms to move into our area. And then here's 8 o'clock along and east of I-65 for your Friday evening. That might cancel again the tennis match that my son has tomorrow, depending on how quickly it moves in. And then there you can see starting to move east at around 9 p.m. Now watch what fills in behind the initial line of storms as we go into 3 o'clock during the overnight hours here, the early morning hours, the Saturday morning. So this is around 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. A good soaker on the way as this front is slow to move through. So look at that. 4 a.m. Saturday. Let's go to sunrise, 7, 8 o'clock Saturday morning. It looks like it's still pretty wet across the area. So I don't know if you have any Saturday morning plans, but I would plan for some rain to be around. This is at 8 o'clock Saturday morning. Let's go hour by hour here into 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Now I'm going to jump ahead to noon now for Saturday, and it looks like we'll start to see that rain trending and dissipating and tapering off to the east here as we go into the afternoon Saturday. So a little bit of active weather that we haven't had in a while here over the next 48 hours or so. And then we'll go into Saturday afternoon and plop on the temperatures because significant cool down on the way. Looks like it'll be the coolest since May for Saturday. Talking about some areas maybe just reaching the 60s for highs Saturday afternoon. Right now I've got 71 going. So rather cool temperatures behind this front for Saturday. There's big changes on the way here. Clear that off there. And the dew points that measure water content in the air really dropping off behind this secondary front that moves through Saturday morning. Dew points in the 40s and 50s. It's going to feel phenomenal. Good. I wouldn't call it maybe sweater weather, but sweatshirt weather for Saturday. So there you go. It's almost apple picking weather, right? We've got Steve Gibbons here with a report of 1.5 inches of rain in Brandenburg. That matched up perfectly with the radar total estimates that I just showed. So thanks for the ground truth there, Steve, from your backyard. So there is the fall-like conditions that will be moving back into the region here for our Saturday. Now let's switch over and go to the high-resolution rapid refresh weather model. And let me bring up the reflectivity. And then we're going to look into, we're going to get a little bit weather nerdy into the weather ingredients for severe weather potential for late tomorrow here in just a second. So this is showing us our noon today with the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. And then we go into the afternoon and we're nice and dry. Leftover shower, maybe east towards Lexington for part of the afternoon. Now let's go ahead and jump ahead to tomorrow afternoon. That's the next main focus here for us. And we're going to jump ahead to late afternoon around 5, 6 o'clock. We'll see, kind of compare and contrast the timing between the NAM and the HRRR, two high resolution weather models. This one's a little bit later than the NAM. So the NAM's a little bit more antsy with those storms. This is at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So it would be nice if it held off later towards sunset, then you have less fuel for the storms. Here's at 9 o'clock. So the HRRR is less aggressive than the NAM 3 kilometer. So there you can see some of that rain. This is at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. And then we're going to jump ahead to Saturday morning. This is 8 a.m. Saturday. Notice a good chance of rain across the area. So a soggy start to our Saturday. And kind of almost drought busting weather here with a half inch to a couple inches of rain with this latest round this morning. And then we could see just the same amount here for Friday night and into Saturday. So if it were me and you don't like severe weather, then I would like the HRRR weather model. But we got to give respect to the NAM 3 kilometer weather model, which does show those severe weather ingredients. In fact, let's now talk about some of those severe weather ingredients as I bring up, let's see if we can bring up the CAPE. So this CAPE is convective available potential energy. We talked a lot about it in the springtime. It's the fuel for thunderstorms, how unstable the air is. The more unstable the air is, the stronger the storms can be. So here we're going to bring this one back up. I got to go into our Friday, September the 5th. So this here is at 1 p.m. Notice that storm fuel is greatest to the southwest at 1 p.m. The model showed at 6 p.m. those storms moving into areas just west of I-65 for Friday. So notice the storm fuel. This is why Kentucky has a better threat of severe storms than Indiana for our late Friday, because this is a lot of storm fuel here over central Kentucky. 3,000 joules per kilogram. That is a lot of energy for storms if that does charge up there. You go north, and it's just not as unstable. So that is good news for Indiana. If this plays out, that is not good news for Kentucky, where you could see a greater threat of severe storms. So that is a big time ingredient there that we're looking at for tomorrow. And again, if you just pop it on as we're looking at the severe weather ingredients, I can bring up the reflectivity once again. And this is our 6 p.m. tomorrow. And you can see the storms possibly firing up late in the day here. This is around 6 to 7 o'clock Friday. So there we go. Well, so just be weather aware for late tomorrow, especially in Kentucky, for the potential of some strong to severe storms. And we'll keep a close eye on it. Tomorrow morning, of course, tune in. We'll give you another updated outlook on the timing and the potential intensity of these storms for our late Friday. And we bring up the Storm Prediction Center's risk of severe weather. Again, their job is to look at where severe weather might happen. For today, level 1 out of 5 severe weather threat over eastern Kentucky, not in our area. And then we need to go to day 2. So this is a severe weather risk for day 2. Now, I would suspect if we continue to see these severe weather ingredients into the afternoon, say around 1 p.m. or so, they'll do an update, and we might get into a slight risk over Kentucky. And then the level 1 probably stays level 1 over Indiana. That would be my guess. But so you can see all of Kentucky and parts of southern Indiana under the level 1 out of 5. This is called a marginal risk of severe storms. Not a big risk, not expecting a big outbreak, but there is that potential there. Now, this is the probability of a tornado. It is low. It's 2% risk of a tornado at any one point within a 25-mile radius is kind of the definition of that. So this is going to be a low risk of a tornado. And then the possibility of damaging winds, that's up to about a 5% risk. We might get a couple warnings. And then the hail risk is off to the southwest, mostly. That's like a 5% as well. So there you go. That's kind of the outline of the severe weather threat for tomorrow. Not huge, but enough to be aware and be ready to seek shelter if a warning is issued, especially in Kentucky again, for late tomorrow. Now, looking at the Climate Prediction Center, we're going to start to look at the long-range outlook. So that means it's time for... All right, been on a limb. Let's do it. And what we're going to focus on now is the potential for summertime to return, maybe in a big way, by mid-late September. So summer not over with yet, even though we've had this nice fall break for a couple of weeks. And over the next week, it'll stay fall-like. We might get this nice return to summertime. And I know there are some fans of that, fans of the heat returning. They're out there. I would say the majority of us are happy with fall sticking around. What say you? Do you want the long-range outlook to heat up? All right, let's go ahead and bring it up here with the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day outlook. So this is the outlook through next week. High confidence and below normal temperatures through next week. But my guess is that this changes on the 8 to 14 day outlook. Now we're starting to see some confidence in above normal temperatures in the longer range outlook. So this is the Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day outlook. So this would be, so if you're 14, you're looking at just past the midway point of September here. So let's match that up with the long range GFS weather model. We will go to model temperatures. We need to look at a couple things. If we're looking for an air mass change, if you've been watching here recently, the return of moisture, the dew points, mugginess is an air mass change. And then, of course, the rise in temperatures as well. All right, so the model that we're going to use, again, is the GFS. And then I want to jump ahead to, so it looked like the end of next week is when we start to warm things back up. So that is when we're looking at the 12th is next Friday. Let's go there. Let's go to the 12th and take a look at the temperatures. All right, so that is showing a heat wave building out west of us next Friday. We're not looking too bad. All right, so we're still in good shape to our next work week. Now let's go ahead and jump ahead to, let's say, so the 13th would be Saturday, 14th a Sunday. So this is 14th. So we're starting to see that heat wave slide east. That shows some 90s starting to make their way back into Indiana and Kentucky. So this is around the 14th. I believe that's a Sunday. And then let's go to Monday the 15th. So we're looking at the heat around the region. Ooh, we don't like those triple-digit numbers, do we? I don't think we're going to get that hot. My gut says we are not going to get that hot. But sometimes what September can do, so if it gets really humid, that'll hold the temperature down a little bit. So in July, we had 90s. It was very muggy. We had a heat index about over 100. But that mugginess can hold the temperatures down. But if you have a dry heat, as you know, in the desert, you can get over 100 degrees if the air is dry. It's easier to get a higher number, say 100 or above, with the actual temperature, not the heat index, when you've got some drier air. So a lot of times in September, you can have drier air. It's not as muggy, but you can get a temperature pop, say up to 100 degrees. We've got records in the hundreds in September, so it can happen. Vicky saying, love the Indian summer weather this time of the year. So what we're saying here, looking at these weather models, is the potential return of summer-like weather after this nice fall blast. Let's go to the 18th. I have no idea what day that is. Maybe like around Wednesday or Thursday. So it's showing on the 18th still some heat lingering across the area. All right, so maybe we get a September little heat wave. So what would be driving this? We look at the 500 millibar winds up toward the jet stream. I'm going to back out our view here. Let's go back to now here, and let's see if we've got a little dip in the jet stream that'll show up. So here's what we've been looking at here recently. We've got this dip in the jet stream. That's giving us some cool shots of air, our direction. You got a ridge out here. So that weather pattern needs to change for the heat wave to kick back in. So as we go to mid-September, what we're seeing is that trough starts to move off to the east, okay? And then we get a ridge to start to build in over much of the United States, and that could build back in the heat our direction, again, mid-late September. So it's a wholesale weather pattern change back to some heat, possibly later in the month. Does that mean the humidity returns? So let's take a look at that as well. Meaning the dew point temperature. So this is why I say dry heat. So maybe we don't get a big return of humidity with the next hot spell. Let's go to like let's go 16th. So there is some humidity, but it's not crazy. So maybe it'll be a dry heat. We'll see. Let's put that in the back of our brains and see if we're right in a couple weeks. And we'll think back and be like, hey, been on a limb, turned out all right. And that is the end of our Ben on a Limb segment. So that is all the weather models. If you are tuning in a little bit late, you can watch the replay. We went hour by hour with the rainfall that's going to be on the way late tomorrow into Saturday. Could have some strong storms, especially in Kentucky. So watch that back if you want to check that out. And then now time to bring back up the forecast. Before we do that, I wouldn't mind checking out the live radar, which we don't often get to do. We haven't had much rain to take a look at in the morning time. So here we go. We're going to bring it up. Let me bring this up to the full screen mode. So we are drying out in southern Indiana as we look live here at some little sprinkles in Louisville, around between the Waterson and the Snyder. And then you got some steadier rain still around Springfield, Willisburg, Bloomfield, Bardstown, still pretty wet. There's some breaks in between, some more rain around Litchfield and southeastern Grayson County, pretty wet, and some spotty showers throughout Breckenridge, and some sprinkly activity there in Meade County. So most of our rain is south of 64 in Kentucky, and will continue to move off to the east. And a lot of the area drying out as we head into the afternoon. Again, southern Indiana already starting to dry out. And eventually, we will see the sky getting to clear as well as we bring up the radar and satellite. When we add the satellite to the equation, then you can see that clearing trend. So who might be seeing some sunshine already? So as we look up, I know Dennis Gregory pops on from Bedford. Are you seeing some sunshine, sir? But there you can see that clearing there up around Bloomington. So my daughter at IU is probably seeing the return of some sunshine. So that is going to be the trend, clearing out northwest to southeast through this afternoon. So let's bring back the forecast up in case you missed it. Afternoon clearing trend today. Storms late tomorrow that we'll be watching for. Saturday morning rain. A good soaker, too. We could see an inch of rain out of this next front late Friday into Saturday morning. But then it is, again, clear sailing with upper 60s, low 70s Saturday afternoon, 70s and sunshine on Sunday, and 70s into early next week. So some fall-like air back on the way. So drying out and cooler this afternoon, going around 74 for that afternoon high. And it will be dry later today. West wind at around 5 to 10. We've got the stupid weather jokes here. What did the investigators say to the cloud? I have some serious questions. Who does everyone listen to, but no one believes? The meteorologist. Throwing myself under the bus. What is the opposite of a cold front? A warm back. That one's not that great. So today in weather history, again, a lot of it is tropical related because we're in the peak of hurricane season. But way back in 1895, Indianapolis had their second biggest rain, around 7 inches. Tropical storm Norma caused Arizona rivers to rise 5 to 10 feet per hour, killing 23 in 1970. In 1986, an unusually strong dust devil hit the National Weather Service office in Arizona. In 2004, former Cat 4 Hurricane Francis made landfall in Florida as a Cat 2. I don't even remember that one. In 2011, the center of Tropical Storm Lee moves ashore around sunrise. So that impacted Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. How many days until before 8 p.m. sunsets? 5 days away. Autumn begins in 18 days. Average highs in the 70s in 20 days. And average highs in the 60s in 45 days. And for today, 74. And an afternoon clearing trend with some cooler temperatures. West wind at around 5 to 10. Sunset at 8:07. And tonight, cool down to the upper 50s, low 60s, and just a very light south breeze out there. We jump up with our temperatures tomorrow back to 85. Dry through much of the afternoon, but by late day evening time, watching out for some strong storm potential, especially in Kentucky. Otherwise, a good soaking rain on the way overnight Friday into Saturday morning. So a wet start Saturday, then drying out Saturday afternoon. And then there is another long dry spell on the way. Check out Sunday, 74 and down to 49 Sunday night. 75 Monday, looking fantastic there into early next week, 80 degrees. I need to start cutting up some wood, getting ready for our winter season, which is right around the corner for the wood stove. 84 Wednesday, and then Thursday, 86. So if you have some weekend plans, after Saturday morning, we are back in a lot better shape as far as the weather is concerned. All right. So Vicky asking, do you think there'll be some lightning tomorrow around the football games? Good question. I think that is possible. It looked like after 6, especially west of I-65, is when those storms could be firing up. It was a little bit later with the HRR weather model. We want the HRRR, HRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh weather model, to be correct, because then it would come in later and weaker. But we'll have to be prepared for that potential of some lightning during the football games tomorrow evening. So, yeah, good question there. And Robert Simpson got enough rain, so hopefully Mother Nature will not be upset and not send severe weather our way. Just got to be ready just in case. Again, it's kind of a small threat tomorrow, but enough energy that we could have a few strong to severe storms and might get a couple warnings to watch out for tomorrow evening. So that's, again, a lot of what we talked about here for today. All right, bringing back up our interactive radar here at extolmag.com. Again, nice to see the rainfall across the area. I've also got the temperatures plotted out there, but you can see the rain is mostly south of Louisville, maybe just a few sprinkles left in Louisville. And this is a live look here with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. Looking along the waterfront there and along the Falls of the Ohio. Low clouds, still got some leftover gloom before the clouds clear out a little bit later this afternoon. A reminder, all your weather resources here at extolmag.com/weather. We've got the live stream up right there. Thanks for liking or subscribing on our YouTube channel. I definitely want to thank and give a shout out to our partners, Lyons Roofing, LYONS, family-owned, great people here out of Memphis, Indiana, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. You get a free estimate there at lyonsroofingco.com, and they'll have you covered. You just give them a call, 812-294-3595 on the Indiana side or the Kentucky side. They got you covered, whether it's commercial, residential, or custom homes, and they can help you out financially as well. They've got bill pay on their online. They've got a career section where they have a roofing repair technician job opening, which you can apply for. There's a lot of job openings here, too, at Libs Paving Co., libspaving.com. Again, a family-owned company right out of Floyd's Knobs, but top asphalt paving contractor around. See the thumbs up in that video. So you can have your opportunity right here. Apply now, it says. All of these job openings right there. You can also level up your career and get educated and get that 2-year certification. Your post-secondary education awaits you here at ivytech.edu. If you click on Tuesdays at the Tech, and by the way, when you go to ivytech.edu, just go to locations, go to Sellersburg, and boom, you're right there. You can learn about the campus. There's maps. There's like 3D maps like inside the rooms and stuff. It's really cool. 42 different programs offered there, and programs for high schoolers, which my kids are doing. My daughter, again, got over 40 free credits in college out of this, and then my son is in it now out of Prosser. So there you go. Get hooked up there. Get hooked up with good insurance here. I was golfing with Michael Long here that you see on the screen, and we were like even. We were like even par through like 7 holes, and then I had a couple blow-up holes, and then he beat me. Not the moral of the story here, but he was telling me that they at AmFam, American Family Insurance, actually had a price decrease. You have not heard that in a long time. So with inflation and groceries and everything, prices have been going up. They've had a price decrease with the car insurance, and I saw that reflected in my renewal as well. So if you want to quote, give Michael Long a call, 812-578-3072. You can go to his landing page here online, amfam.com, and then put in Michael Long, and then you'll find his page where you can email him or you can give him a call. So there you go. Thanks to all of our partners. Thanks to you, our weather community, our weather family, for tuning in here today. Nice to have the rainfall across the area. Don't want the strong to severe storms tomorrow, late tomorrow, but tomorrow morning, Friday, September 5th, we'll be looking at the high-res models and giving you the kind of final timeline and intensity forecast for that tomorrow morning, so stay tuned there. And Vicky Berger, thank you. You are the best because you're here every morning. Thank you very much. And Lillian saying, hope your dogs feel better. Have a nice day. Yeah, they're I did not see as much puke around the house. So yesterday there was puke everywhere from Skeeter, our little mini Aussie. Probably need to take him to the vet. He's had Giardia before. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a parasite that you can get from other animals in the woods. So we live out in the woods, and so hopefully it's not that, but we might need to get them tested. So we've got limping dogs, puking dogs. They are older. It happens. If you're a dog owner, you've got to be in it for the long haul. So that's what we're going through right now. So today, enjoy the return of NFL football this evening. Got some good football weather out there with this cool down behind the front and the rain moving out. I believe U of L is playing tomorrow night, Friday night college game. You got college football Saturday. You've got NFL games Sunday. A whole lot more to do, I'm sure, around the area. And as always, if you have an event, whatever it might be, big old neighborhood garage sale, yard sale, put it in the comments and we'll talk about it. And thank you so much again for watching. Whether it is right here on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Peine, Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and extolmag.com/weather online. All right, guys. We can put away the umbrellas very soon, but have them back out late tomorrow, and we'll talk about that tomorrow morning on your Friday edition of Ben at 10. Peace out. Have a good day.